What is the takings clause in constitutional law for the bar exam? Have you ever wondered how the government can take your property? The takings clause is a key part of this process. It is found in the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. This clause states that private property cannot be taken for public use without just compensation. This means that if the government wants to take your property, they must pay you fairly for it. Let's break down some important concepts. First, we have eminent domain. This is the government's power to take private property for public use. However, the takings clause puts limits on this power. It ensures that property owners are compensated fairly when their property is taken. Next, we need to understand what public use means. The government can only take property if it is for a public purpose. This could include building roads, schools, or other facilities that benefit the community. Now, let's talk about just compensation. This refers to the fair market value of the property taken. The goal is to make sure that property owners are not left at a loss due to the government's actions. There are two main types of takings. The first is physical takings. This occurs when the government directly seizes property. For example, if the government takes land for a new highway, that is a physical taking. The second type is regulatory takings. These happen when government regulations limit the use of property without physically taking it. Sometimes, these regulations can be so severe that they are considered a taking. For your bar exam preparation, it is important to understand the purpose of the takings clause. It prevents the government from unfairly burdening individuals by taking their property without compensation. You should be ready to analyze cases involving this clause. This includes determining if a taking has occurred and if the compensation is just. Also, be prepared to discuss regulatory takings. These can be complex, especially when regulations significantly reduce property value. As you review for the bar exam, remember that the takings clause balances individual property rights with the government's need for public use. Just compensation is a vital part of this equation. The clause applies to both physical and regulatory takings, so understanding these distinctions is key. By focusing on these aspects, you will be better equipped to tackle questions related to the takings clause on the exam.